Ooh, hello there, my fellow miners and crafters. Good times with Scar here, bringing you another super awesome Minecraft episode. And in today's episode, we return to the Scarland roller coaster project to work on our sunken ship under the sea for our roller coaster show scene. So let's get this episode underway. Alright, and welcome back to Scarland, a land where we take survival building to the extreme. And we're here at the roller coaster project, but before we head underground and start working on our show scene for the roller coaster, I wanted to show off some of the progress that we've all done on Twitch. So we've done quite a bit of work on Twitch, getting the landscape settled and ready to go. And a lot more work needs to be done, but we've got some custom trees built up. The river is slowly expanding, which is really cool. So now it kind of has a nice feel to the area. See the pathway? All of these custom built trees are starting to come together. And of course, the river, how the river flows all the way down there. And eventually it will lead to a really cool waterfall that dumps off into the main river by the bridge. And yeah, so look at all those cool trees. Isn't that awesome? It's really nice to kind of see the area finally kind of come together. And eventually there'll just be a million more of these trees and all sorts of good stuff. But there's the river. It's kind of nice to see. And yeah, so let's get going and head underground. Alright, and let's get ourselves a ride vehicle and head down to the deep dark seas to work on our show scene. So something that I need to work on is getting a script for a safety spiel for the ride. So when the roller coaster car comes up and we get into it and we're sent on our way, I want there to be a safety spiel. So something similar to you'd hear, on the Matterhorn or Thunder Mountain, Space Mountain at Disneyland. So, please remain seated at all times, keep your hands and arms inside the vehicle, and enjoy the ride. But, it would need to be more pizzazz to it. But I think that would be really fun, like take Thunder Mountain, for instance, hang on to them hats and glasses because this here is the wildest ride in all the wilderness. So something like that. Of course, we're not in the wilderness. This isn't Wild West themed or anything. So we'll find something that's appropriate for this. And I think that'd be pretty cool. If you got any cool, script you want to put it in the chat. Type it up, put it in the chat. I'll take a look at it. I would love to see what you guys have come up with and smile for the camera. But oh no, don't want to play these games. I'm gonna have some oh gosh, we got a bob coaster on inbound. We've got a bob coaster inbound. Oh, this is just bad. This is just bad all around, my friends. Goodbye, Bob. Have a great time. Enjoy the ride. This is the greatest start to a video ever. Truly the greatest. Tell me there has never been a greater start. And he's coming back. He's coming back. He's coming back. Oh, he's gonna don't blow anything up, Bob. Oh, he's gone. All right, my friends, let's get right into it today. That was quite a start there. That was quite a start. Anyway, let's get some stuff together. Let's move our stake and let's jump over here. So first thing we're going to do here is we're going to start applying some more rocks. So in our last episode, we left off here by getting some of the rock sorted out. So as you can see, we're just kind of getting some of the rock built up here, and I want to dig down just a little bit here. And you might have noticed, sorry about there's so much I wanted to tell you guys at the start of this video, like, some of the stuff that I did in the meantime between episodes. Like, I expanded the ceiling up about 4 more blocks. I think that's going to be a great addition to our ceiling. It's going to open up a lot of new possibilities, and I think that'll be really cool. Good. We are really moving along. We are really moving along, getting a lot of progress done. So this is going to be great. So see that little shadow back there? I'll fix that in just a minute. So okay, I'll fix that in a little bit. A little bit longer than I anticipated, but I will. Don't worry. I will. I promise. Okay? There we go. And then we'll just sneak over here, put that across there, and just getting a little bit of rock sorted out through here. And I want to jump down here. And as you can see, these vines are kind of growing a little more than I wanted. We may remove them. I don't know. There's a lot. They're kind of growing a little more than I wanted. See if we can find maybe a ways of trying to keep them from growing as much. Maybe we'll see. So things we want to do here, we want to start to maybe cut some of this out and add a little bit more detail to these sections, like, fill in here and there, remove that, add a little bit of this and that. There we go. Put something like that, and then come down here like that, boom and a bam, and jump on top. See how we're slowly making this look a little bit better? Oh, he's back. Oh, the bob coaster's back. He's going to be haunting us this entire episode. He is seriously going to be haunting us. Bob the Creeper Building Inspector coaster. I don't want to ride that coaster. I'm sorry, but I don't. No, don't want to ride the Bob coaster. There we go. Awesome. So in these little areas, what I want to do is make them look like coral. So these are like little coral pockets, you know, growing up through here, looking all fancy and all that good stuff. And I think that'll look kind of cool. That'll look kind of cool. I'm really worried about the Bob coaster. And so yeah, just in these little corners, I just want to kind of grow in lots of little pieces of coral, similar to our underwater house, how we had the coral arranged and things of that nature. And yeah, so I want the ship to look like it kind of, you know, it's come to a rest on top of, you know, a big rock pile. That's kind of the theme. So yeah, so I'm going to keep moving this on over here, and I'll see you in just 1 second. All right, and welcome back. So got a little bit of progress done. I've got some little pieces here and there. I have worked on this side, just getting some sand built up here. The reason I've kind of really brought that up to the side there was to kind of create a vignette, if you will. So in photography, you want to sometimes put a darker ring around the edge to focus in on the center, and having these giant little expanses of sand going up here kind of create your eye more focuses onto the ship. And as you can see, Bob the Creeper Building Inspector roller coaster just right there. All right, we're keeping an eye on him. Keeping him at bay is our #1 priority. Okay, so what we're doing here is we are starting to lay down a bit of sand. So just laying down a bit of a foundation, and then I want to fill in here with some sand. There we go. And then we'll just get more and more of it piled up and all that good stuff as we kind of bring it along. There we go. So we're just kind of getting that all set up and ready to go. Now I did realize that we are missing some of our cookies and cream block. I was looking through the boxes over at Scar's temporary crafting center, and I was like, oh, okay, well that makes sense. I don't have any diorite, no cookies and cream for us today. So we do have to make one trip to the above land, if you will, the top side, and try to get ourselves some diorite, because we do need some. We need that to kind of create that coral look that we are trying to achieve. There we go. And yeah, that's looking good. Great. So as you can see, we're just slowly kind of filling in the sand along here. In certain areas, you know, we'll poke the rock up and maybe add a little more sand in these corners here and there. But you can kind of get the idea of just kind of filling in, trying to find different areas where it feels right that it would be. And excuse me, Mr. Skeleton, you don't even have any pants on. You don't even have any pants on. So you come here to fight me without any pants. I just don't even know. Just don't. Wonderful. All right, good, great. So next we're going to move this over here just a little bit more. As you can see, get that all in there like so. And then jumped up here a little more, and then fill that up on the top like that. And then in here, and yeah, looking good. So next thing I always love to do is add some half slabs. It just helps kind of break up the blocky nature of it and try to smooth it out just a little bit. It's the best we can do to try to make it, you know, just a little more realistic. And you can see that looks a lot better, you know, just having those extra little half slabs there and in here and stuff. And I think that really makes it look a lot better. So I'll just continue to keep placing this down. I'm going to get myself some diorite. All right, and welcome back. And I got myself some cookies and cream blocks. So now we can kind of sneak on down here and apply those. So let me grab them out, and we can apply our cookies and cream. There we go. And I think this does look like coral. You know, it's the best we could do, of course, in the mining and the crafting area, but there we go. That's what I wanted. I just wanted a little bit of that in there, and I think that'll look cool. And check out this. I've been working on this nice little trench going across here. I think that looks really cool, and it looks like, you know, the ship is just teetering on the edge there. And yeah, so let's head back up here and finish up a little bit more on the rock work, and then it's time to work on that ceiling. So of course we'll do something similar to what we've done on the other areas of the build here, and we'll get out our glass and we'll get out our ice. And I have considered changing it up just a little bit. I'm going to go over in a little while and take a look at the other room and see what areas of it need improvement. So if there's areas of the glass roof that are like, okay, you know, it looks cool, but I think we could do this, and I think it may make it look a little bit better. So we'll just do a little evaluation, see what areas we can improve. Yeah, so we'll do that and check that out, make sure that is all set before we do it. There we go. And one way to save a little bit on resources is to make these rocks, you know, stick out a little bit farther, and then do the glass and the ice and all that good stuff. Because of course those do take a substantial bit of resources. There we go. Put that up right there, just a bit of scaffolding. And I just want to cut some of this back just a little bit. And when you're working with the caves like we've done before, is just kind of insert here and there just little bits of detail like that. You know, you'll just come up there and you'll just kind of go like that. You'll go down just a smidge. There we go, like so. And you'll jump down here, grab a bit of cobblestone, and place them inside like that. And you've got yourself one super duper awesome cave all ready to go. So yeah, I think that'll look good for now. We'll get more to that in a little bit. That's stuff that I can just continue to refine a little bit. Next thing I want to do, I want to grab out some seaweed. So let's put some seaweed down here. Get some seaweed going. These areas right here are blank and boring, just a bunch of sandy fields. So we want a sandy dune, I guess you would actually call it, probably. So right here, we're just going to kind of work on getting some seaweed in here. Get some seaweed planted, and I think that'll look pretty good. Just kind of getting it all kind of arranged. There we go. And let me jump up here and then slowly insert it up just a bit higher like so. There we go. Get it up just a little bit higher. Beautiful. And then we can even make, one crazy guy going off to the side a little bit like that. And maybe just another one right there. And thicken this area up just a little bit. Awesome, awesome. And then, of course, this section right here can blow in the current a little bit. Just a bit. There we go. Awesome, awesome. And then we can come in and insert jungle leaves if we want a little bit later. But just getting some seaweed planted, that's fun. Getting that all in there and adds just a little bit of variety. And plus, I really wanted to add seaweed when we were working on our modern, not our modern house, but our underwater house back in the day. And I really tried to figure out if there was any little exploits we could figure out to get the leaves to work underwater. And there wasn't. I tried. If there was any way of just kind of getting that bubble, that little cone of water that, or a little pocket of air that goes around the leaves when they're actually underwater in Minecraft. It's really annoying when you want to add some seaweed under there, and it just didn't work out. I really tried, if there's any possible way. There we go. And the same for glass. Glass acts in the same way as these leaves do, so it's quite difficult to try to get that to work. And there we go. Our little dune looks way better than it did. And then down here, we can just kind of insert this along here and bring that up like so. And then let me swap out of here. And unfortunately, I don't have what I need, but I'm just going to go like that and then bring this piece up like that. There we go. Looking good. Bring that up one more block like so, and then put that right there. Awesome. Hey, that looks cool. Back there, definitely could use a couple over there, but let's focus in on this area over here. And what we could do is just kind of bring this up like that. There we go. And place one right there. Beautiful. And then maybe just a smaller one. Let's bring it up in this corridor right here. So when you're doing this, try to think of how the viewer is, perceiving the area. When you're on the car, you don't want to cover up all the detail in these areas. So you just want to do something subtle. But in this backer area, the backer area of the build, in the back area here, you can make a wider one and a taller one, because it is not obstructing the ship and all that good stuff. Because we worked hard on the ship, we don't want to cover it up now, do we? Not at all. There we go. And then bring this piece up here just a little higher. There we go. Oh, we're trapped up here. And jump on down. And we're pretty much out of leaves at this point. But there we go. We've got some seaweed growing. So what I want to do is add some taller ones on that side. And yeah, and get some bubbles going. So I'll see you in just 1 second, and let's get this roof going. All right, and welcome back. And we've got ourselves some scaffolding all set up and ready to go. So let's head on up here. And when scaffolding's up, it's time for some super awesomeness. So let's get our ice that I was using to test things with, and we're gonna get right into it. So like we've done before, is we're gonna apply some ice back here. So I was doing some looking at the other side over there, and I'm trying to determine if it is better to do water or ice above the glass. And I think ice is still the better way to go. For this area, see how we're kind of bringing these across here. Find the areas where you want to try to save some resources by bringing up some rock in these kind of little arch it in here like that. And then that kind of saves, quite a few extra blocks here or there. Because, ice is a fairly difficult thing to get. I mean, it's time consuming. You need silk touch. You gotta freeze it. You gotta, there's a lot to it. So you don't want to waste it too much. And especially you don't want to waste any stained glass because that is quite valuable, especially in the blue with all the things you can do with lapis nowadays in Minecraft. And yeah, so we're just slowly applying this here. And then from that, we start to go like this. So start adding, all these different little blocks here. And that just helps give it that kind of underwater feel the ceiling above you. That's one thing I found in theme park rides is sometimes they neglect the ceilings. It's something, you know, when you see a good attraction, like a good, you know, theme park attraction, and they have a really nice like ceiling built up, you're like, yeah, they did it right there. That's how you do it. Yeah, you just don't want to neglect the ceilings. A lot of times they'll neglect the ceilings and it'll just be, you know, like a kind of sound stage, you know, painted black design, so it kind of tries to be unintrusive, but yeah, it shows. You gotta put it all in. You gotta go all the way when you're doing something. Going halfway on anything, it's just leads to trouble down the road. It just leads to trouble when you're trying to do something else, and when you know, kind of just, you know, didn't go all the way. You gotta go all the way. That's my philosophy a lot of times with the builds that we do. You know, I could, you know, have made just a little roller coaster here or there, you know, without all this extra stuff we're doing. But this stuff's what makes it special. Does it take a lot of extra time? Does it take a lot of extra resources? Yes, it does. But I think it's worth it. And I think that's hopefully why you guys enjoy tuning into the videos. I hope you enjoy them. I know sometimes they can be a little long, or they can take a while to finish a project, but that's because we really want to do it right. We want to do it right. We want to put as much effort as possible into it, and to have something that we're super proud of, not something that we rushed out, but something that we're proud of. We put a lot of thought into it, and that it is hopefully something you guys enjoy. And yeah, so you guys get the pattern, right? You see it. And if you have any other colors you think would look good mixed in here, let me know. You know how to let me know. You know how to get a hold of me on Twitter or in the comments of this video. If you see it, you know, maybe a purple, or heck, even maybe a green. Anyway, I'm just going to keep filling this in, and I'll see you in a little while. All right, and welcome back. So we've got ourselves one super duper awesome ceiling, and I kind of feel like it's looking pretty super snazzy. So look at that. All this little ice and stuff I think will look really cool and make it feel like you are underwater and you're cruising about, and I think that'll look really cool. So one thing we're working on now is this zone over here. Now this area right here kind of needs a bit of sprucing up. So these little areas where we can start to kind of make these little rocker, you know, little rock areas, and I think that'll look really cool. So yeah, super time consuming, takes hours, but like we were talking about just a moment ago, it's totally worth it once in a while just to really kind of go the extra mile and just really apply those extra details, especially in these show scenes. Like, these are meant for, you know, kind of fun and entertainment, all that good stuff. And so I think the extra effort that we're putting into these areas are definitely worth it. And, you know, sneaking up some of this rock back here helps avoid having to use too much more ice and stuff like that, because we will need some more in these other areas of the build. There we go. And I completely neglected to use my silk touch there instead of break those glass blocks. Oh, Scar, always making those Scar mistakes. Haha. All right, well, we'll continue to do this, and then we'll catch you in just 1 second. All right, and welcome back, and let's do a tour of all of our work today. And just as I was getting ready to show you guys all the work here, the building creeper inspector decided to get off his minecart and destroy this section, so I've been putting it back together. But on one positive note, look at this. We can kind of see through the wall there into the other area, and I like that. That's kind of cool. But let's turn the corner here, and as you can see, we now have our shipwreck scene all complete and ready to go. We've got our bubbles heading to the surface. We've got our, you know, our ocean, you know, surface, you know, just above the shipwreck, looking so fancy with all the different, you know, glass blocks and ice, and of course all the seaweed blowing in the current and the sand and all that good stuff. And of course we'll get rid of the chests and the crafting bench and all that once we finish up more down there. But look at that, we've got this little trench going down there, and yeah, I think the bubbles will come out nice. We're a little bit more subtle with them, more of a source block. So say if there's a source down here that caused the bubbles, they kind of go up and then disperse as they get higher and higher, instead of just random bubbles all over the place. As you can see, this one's kind of blowing up into the current this way. And yeah, so that is the ship, and I think everything came out well. I think it did. So give me some feedback on what you think of the ship, and if you have any improvements you would like to see made to it, definitely let me know. And until next time, this has been Good Times with Scar, and I always really appreciate you guys taking time to watch my videos. And if you believe the video deserved a rating, that would be much appreciated. And until next time, we'll see you later. Creating Emporium and start putting some blocks down. So this block right here, we're gonna go 2 blocks up like so. As you can see, boom and a bam, looking good, looking good.